Welcome all to the weekly outlook. Boone here from EWPRO. Starting with the DXY. So we got the 5 down. We got a WX, extended wave Y, X2, and then we'll be looking for that Z up. Last week I said this was looking very much bullish still, and we went up and broke the top. So going down to the H4, we're starting to get the bearish divergence. There's nothing to say that this isn't over though, this wave Z. And on the H1, it's the same. We're looking for a sell set up. You know, we're looking for wherever this ends, we're looking for an impulse, correction or flag, and then look for the sell. AU on the daily. So we got that WXY, X2, Z down, lost the bullish divergence. So we're looking for a correction to give us another one down. And now we have that bullish divergence. We got a nice, well, it's quite a choppy impulse up, but we'll be looking for a correction, some sort of a correction, and then more upside. On the H4, we got the 5 up, and if we go down to the H1, we'll be looking for either a correction, ideally a correction. We've broken through the trend line, and we'll be looking for a correction, and then a sell set up to sell. Whether it happens this week or next week or the week after, it's a correction, so it may take some time to form that correction and then give us that sell set up. So you need to be patient to get that set up. EU on the daily, very similar to DXY. We're looking at WX, extended wave Y, and then we'll be looking for the X2 and a Z down. On the H4, we got the trend line break. We're just looking for either a correction or a flag. We need something to sell in here. So we're looking for a sell setup. We go down to the H1. We really need, we had a little correction here, but we really need the larger correction. We need a H1 correction. Some sort of H1 correction, and then we can look for that sell to go and break the low. This low over here. GU on the daily. So we got the WXY, X2 with the bear hidden. So we got that Z down. We've lost all the bullish divergence, so we're just looking for a correction in here, and then another one down, giving us that bullish divergence. So we did break this low on the H4. We did break the low, and we know in a B wave we can break the low. So I'm still looking at an A, B, C, a possible C up in the X2 before we get that Z down. This may turn into a running flat, or it may turn into an expanding flat. We don't know, but we're looking for upside. And so on the H1, we have the bullish divergence. So you'd be looking for a buy setup on the lower time frames. Any buy setup you get, look for the buy. I'd be targeting, you know, we'd like to see this top here get broken over here, but it may not if it's a running flat, we may only get to this 38.2, or we can just simply draw our 100 fib. So the 100 fib is around the 132.80 area, so just below this top here. Ideally, we'd like to get to the 100 fib. And you on the daily, like I've mentioned, there can be heaps of different structures in here. I won't go over it again, but we have a bear hidden here. So we're, like I said last week, we're looking for a sell for a Z down. Like I mentioned, it can be a large flat in here for an A, B, C, and then you get that A, B, C. Either way, we're looking for that sell setup, whatever structure you're looking at. Either or, it doesn't matter because we're still looking in the same direction. UY on the daily. So, like I've mentioned, wave Z's gone too far and it may not be over. We've lost all the bearish divergence. So we're just looking for a correction in here to give another one up and then give us that bearish divergence. On the H4, like I mentioned last week, we can look at this as an internal, we can look at this as an extended wave, and we got a W, X, Y, X2. We had that bull hidden, like I mentioned last week, and prices just about gone up and break that top. Hopefully it does go up and break that top, and then we get a larger X2 and then the Z up. So we got an extended wave in here in the wave Y. Actually, I should just go back there. We'd be looking for the sell on the H1. Excuse me. So we're looking for a sell. We know in a B wave, if you look at this as an A, all this is a B, we know a B wave can break that top and then give another one down. So we're looking for a sell setup. We're starting to get internal bearish divergence there. So any sell setup you get, I'd be looking for the sell. The Swissy on the daily, this has become very complex as well. It's whatever's happening in here is a B wave. And as you can see, B waves can be very choppy. But what we're looking for is this for the A, B, C. And then we'd be looking for the larger A, B, C. Last week, I believe there was a buy set up on it. We had that little flag in here. I took that. I'm still in half of it. Yeah, it's very choppy. You're really only scalping it, you know, because we had that bull hidden here, you know, so this can go up and break that top, giving us bearish divergence, and then we could look for the sell setup for the larger C down. Just got to be patient and wait for, you know, these can go on for a long time because it's in a B wave. It's a time factor. So, yeah. So this was your little correction in here to buy. If you're in it, you could stay in it because it looks like we're getting like a W, X, Y, X2, and then a Z up. Yeah. Once we start to get divergence on the H1, we'll start to look for that sell setup. UCAD on the daily. So this is very complex as well. You know, we're looking for an A. All this is a B. And then we'll be looking for a C up. But is this over? We got that A, B, C in here, like I mentioned last week. So we're looking for a buy setup. If you get a little flag in here, you know, look for the buy to go and break the top. We're at a low, so you really don't want to be selling this, you know. There is a possible bear hidden, you know. So if you did want to scalp, you know, you'd have to wait for a sell setup to sell to go and break the low, and you're really only scalping. I'm more interested in the buys. What are we getting up here? Yeah, see, we're getting a little flat up here, you know. We're getting a little flat up here, so you could put a buy stop just above that top, and if it triggers you, well, you use this as your stop loss. GY on the daily. So this again has become it's getting very confusing, because we got that WXY, X2, Z up. We had a nice move down, but it had that bullish hidden divergence. So we were looking for this to go and break the top. It nearly broke the top over here, but over here, as you can see, it clearly did. So this wave, I was just looking for an A, B, C in here, and then like the A, B, C for a running flat, and that is still possible. But this wave here has gone too far. You know, we've lost all our bearish divergence, so it makes it a little bit harder. But we are looking for the sell. On the H4, you know, you can see that this is looking corrective. Whatever's happening in here, it's looking corrective. And as we know, a B wave, excuse me, a B wave can go and break the top before it becomes a running or expanding flat. So we don't know if it's going to break the top and just be a regular flat correction, or it may just be a simple A, B, C like I've got it drawn. We don't know yet, but we are looking for a sell. This is looking very corrective in here. So sort of starting to get a trend line break there. This is not a trend line break though. It's you know, you need the setup to sell. You have to wait for that sell setup, or else if you don't, you're just going to get frustrated, because it'll just keep on, you know, could do anything up here. Very choppy. You're waiting for, you know, you're waiting for whatever's happening in here to give a clear break, sell setup, and then look for that C down. You don't get that, well, you just stay out of it until you do. EG on the daily. So we got that W, X, Y, X2, very choppy, Z down, and we have a heap of bullish divergence here, you know. So eventually this will give a nice impulse up and then a correction to buy. We just got to wait for it. This is, I'll zoom in here. This isn't good, because we've got 3 up in here, you know. Like I mentioned last week, we got 3 up in here, so it's not good. It's not impulsive. So looking at the H4, we don't have any bearish divergence between this top and this top. We don't have any bearish divergence. We may have a bull hidden here. It's very hard to determine if we do. No, we don't have one yet. We don't have a bull hidden. And this is very sharp here as well. So it makes it quite difficult. Like we got an A, B, C up, and then we've broken this trend line in here. So if you do get a bearish setup, you know, you could look to scalp it, and you're really only scalping it, and it's a very dangerous trade because we're at a low. You know, we've got heaps of bullish divergence on the daily. But if you are a scalper, you could look for the sell to scalp it and break that low. I wouldn't be doing that, but yeah, that's pretty much all, unless we get that ball hidden. If we get the ball hidden, which more than likely we won't, but you know, if you do get a nice buy set up, you know, you could look to buy to go and break that top because we don't have any bearish divergence, but it's looking very corrective. You know, it's I don't think this is the reversal just yet. We're still, more than likely we'll see more downside until we get that nice buy set up. I'm looking at gold. So this has become very complex as well. Like I've mentioned many times over the last 6-12 months, we got a WXY. Then we had that bear hidden to go and break the low, but instead we got 3 down and it didn't quite break that low. So that's what made it very complex, because we got an impulse correction. Then we got this larger flat in here. So we're looking for an A, B, C in here, but again, this C wave went too far. So it's making it very confusing. We're sort of getting, this is looking bearish in here. So if we look on the H4, we're looking at this WXY, X2, and a Z up. You know, you're sort of getting a buy set up in here now. Problem is, I mean, it's okay. You know, we're looking for buys for that Z up. We've got an A, B, and a C down. So we've got an A, B. Look for that C up. So you know, more than likely you would have taken this if you were looking at buying gold. And if you're in that trade, well, you'd be at break even, you'd be moving to break even. I would be moving half to, I would be taking half off at the 100 pip. Wherever this 100 pip is, I'd be taking that half off at that 100 pip and then just let the rest run, because it's quite risky and it doesn't look like, you know, I mean, this may not be over here, because if we look at the time factors, you know, we got a very, well, if we do look at that, it may be actually ready. See, it may not be ready yet because we're looking at a time factor for the X2. So we may get another one down here. It's looking nice for the buy. I'd definitely keep that if you're in it, but it may just come up, break this top, and then give us another one down before it gives you a buy set up to go for that Z up. So you just have to be mindful that, you know, it may not be over, because if we look at this as an A, B, C, well, the time factor isn't there, you know, so there may be more correction to come. It may not be over. WTI on the daily. So we got this WXY, X2, Z up. The Z up went too far and we lost all the bearish divergence, like I've mentioned. So we're just looking for a correction. As you can see, I've got a pattern drawn here. So I've got a pattern drawn here. This is a possible structure that I'm looking at, so it's pretty self-explanatory. We got an A, B, C, then we'll get that A, B, C before we get a larger A, B, C. Yeah, so that's the structure we're looking at. Looks like it's starting to go. I drew this a few days ago. We got the C down, and we do have the bullish divergence, I believe. between this low and this low, we do have the bullish divergence. So it may be giving this one up here, you know. But really, you're only really scalping, you know. I don't think it's going to fall over from here, because when we go back to the daily, you know, like I've been mentioning, you know, I'm just looking for, we've lost all the bearish divergence, so I'm just looking for a correction in here, whatever correction it is. We don't know what sort of correction it's going to be, but then we'll be looking for an upside to go and break that top. On the H1, yeah, see, you know, you're really only scalping. I would expect more downside, you know, a little bit more downside in this wave here, down to that 100 fib. And then if you get a bounce off that 100 fib, you know, you could look for your buy setup for this wave up in here. Looking at Bitcoin on the daily. Excuse me. So we're looking at an A, B, C. We got a nice bounce off that 100 pip. Then we got an impulse up, and I was just looking for a bullish setup up here to give us that, you know, buy. Instead, we got very deep correction. So more than likely, we got a flat in here for an A, B, C, and then we'll come down and break the top, like I've mentioned, you know. It's all we can really look at. You know, I was looking for an A, B, C up in here. Oh, damn phone. And then another one down, because we got such a deep correction. It's starting to fall over now. You know, you've got a sort of sell set up there, and you've got a little flag in here as well. If I just, you know, we're just about breaking through the trend line. It's very, there's so many different structures it can be. Like I showed last week, it can be an A, B, C in here for a running or possibly expanding flat, but at this stage it's could be a running flat. And then we get an A, B, C, you know. So you can really trade it. Well, you're only scalping because, you know, there is no clear direction. We're in it's a correction, so you can scalp it either way. If you know, if this is a flat in here, well, you'll be looking for the buy. You'll be looking for an impulse up, a buy setup, something to buy, and then just to go and break that top for the A, B, C. And then we'll be looking for, you know, and then there's the other big, larger flat that it could be, like an A, B, C in here. You know, so there may be more downside in it. So if you get a bearish setup, you could look for the sell, but it's only a scalp again, you know, before you get that A, B, C. So there's so many different structures in it. You're really only scalping if you're trading this. I personally, I'd stay out of it until something's clear, you know, until you're looking for a nice impulse. Looking at SPX 500. So we got the C up with bearish divergence. We had got a lot of bearish divergence between these two tops. Got a nice impulse down. I was looking at for an A, B, C in here, and that is still possible. Oh, fucking phone. And then we'll be looking for, you know, this can be a flat in here, like I've been saying, and it may give us like the A, B, C down. We need to set up to sell it though at this stage. It's more bullish at this stage because we don't have any, we've got a move up here, we've got a correction and a move up, and we don't have any bearish divergence. So we may get a W, X, Y, X2, we were looking for that 38.2 retracement last week, and it looks like it's just about got there. And then we'll be looking for X2 and the Z up. So it's yeah, it may be still bullish. AU 200 again, this is they're not really playing the game. We got like the WXY X2 Z up with the bearish divergence, nice impulse down, but we're getting a very deep correction. So more than likely this is an A B, whatever's happening in here is a B, and then a C for a larger flat, you know. So we get another one down here, and then more upside for the A, B, C. So, you know, it's not really playing the game, but we are looking for a sell, obviously, you know. It's bounced off this 100 fib here. I don't believe we have, yeah, we do have bearish divergence. Go down to the H1. Yeah, see, during the week I was obviously looking for this, like an A, B, and then a C, but it never went. So it's, yeah, it's not really playing the game. Just remove that. This is looking very choppy in here, you know, whatever's happening in here is looking very choppy. So if we look at that as an A, a B, I'll be looking for at least a C down. We're at the top, so it's very hard to, you know, buy up the top. You know, it's very dangerous to buy up the top. So if you get a sell set up, I'd be more interested in the sell. Looking at the DAX on the daily. So we got that W, a very deep pullback in wave X, and then we got a wave Z, sorry, a WX, and then we got the wave Y down. We don't have the bearish hidden. There's no bearish hidden, which is, yeah, so it's going to be difficult to trade as X to get that Z down unless we get that bear hidden. Really like to see that bear hidden before we look for another sell. It's looking, I think last week we were in here by the look of it, and we were looking for the sell here. So if you took that, well, you know, you're getting another sell set up in here. Okay, it's very choppy. So, you know, you're really only scalping. So yeah, it's something I would stay out of because, you know, I'm not really a scalper. You want to try and get the impulses, you know, and not just scalp. Looking at the FTSE on the daily, very similar, you know, very choppy. We got a WXY X2 Z up, nice impulse down, but prices come straight back up, and it's nearly breaking that top. It's not giving a clear structure. There is no clear structure. You know, because this is looking impulsive and this is looking impulsive. So two impulses don't make any structure. So me personally, you just stay out of this until, unless you're scalping, you just stay out of it until you find a nice structure. So I hope you enjoyed the weekly outlook this week. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.